Hello, beautiful people. I'm Danny.
And I'm Britt, and this is the Gay Cousin Club podcast. Let's call our meeting to order.
Okay, so, life update. Danny is officially divorced.
I asked you if we were doing life updates, and you're like, no, I want to.
I just hit the run. I don't know, like, celebrate or something. But, so, as a segue into today's episode, so...
I'm not ready for that yet. If we're doing life updates, I want to talk about my life updates, too. You talk about your life
then you do life updates first.
No, you talk about your life updates. It's fine.
Well, mine transitions directly into the episode.
Oh. Well, mine's not
yours first.
Mine's not really a life update, per se. It's because I don't have a life, so my entire life it revolves around the content I can consume, as I feel like we've all figured out by now.
Yeah.
And
on their podcast.
I've been consuming gay shit, as one does. And I'm like, I know I'm like super late to the party. I missed my invitation. But I finally started watching.
Got sent to the wrong house.
I did. I finally started watching the Interview with a Vampire, like the 2022 version.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
Bitch, it's so good. It's so much more layered. I'm gonna be honest. I've read some Anne Rice. I was a big fan of The Witching Hour, that says something about me that I read that like 3 times when I was 15. Don't judge me.
I was gonna say, didn't you read that like back when we were still at our old house? Like
I read it
when you read it too young to have read that.
I think I'm still too young to have read it, and I read it 3 times. So it had me feeling some type of way. Let's not talk about it. Anyway, I did not get around to reading Interview with a Vampire. I just wasn't really into the whole vampire scene until Twilight came around, and that's another era of my life that we don't. Oh, actually, speaking of Twilight, Danny, the other day I was explaining
ADHD is strong right now.
I made a cocktail and it has soda in it, and I don't really drink a lot of soda, so I'm like, sugar. But do you want to guess what kind of cocktail it is?
It is an amaretto sour.
And what's the best part?
The squirt or the olive juice.
The green olives. I put green olives in my amaretto sour. Did you know? And yes, you did, because you were there. But one time at a bar, when I ordered an amaretto sour with green olives, which objectively is delicious, sweet and salty. Everybody loves sweet and salty. Get fucked. But a bartender looked at me. And he said, "You should be embarrassed for ordering that." And I was like, "Well, because I'm perpetually embarrassed. That's how I exist. I wake up embarrassed."
But I feel like that's less embarrassing than ordering like a lemon drop.
No, I think he was projecting a little bit. I don't think he knew what it was. It's literally an amaretto and sour, so that's not true.
So he's embarrassed.
How did I get here? Oh, yeah, I was talking about 9/11.
That was a great segue.
Happy September, Virgos. So 9/11, right? Gerard Way is inspired to start My Chemical Romance. Stephanie Meyer, sheltered Mormon girl, listens to My Chemical Romance, dreams about vampires. She writes Twilight. An older woman reads Twilight, gets weirdly obsessed, and writes 50 Shades of Grey. That leads to mainstream smut, which leads to the only kind of content Danny consumes.
Thank you, Tara.
Why are you talking about that? Oh, yeah.
Vampires. Don't know.
Vampires. So I finally started watching Interview with a Vampire. I have not finished the book. I did start it. I remember now. I didn't finish it. The 90s version, Brad Pitt, obviously I really loved him, made bisexuals feel some kind of way. But the new version, not so new. I missed the train, I know. It's so much more gay and so much more layered. It's so good. And the main one that plays Louis is he was the leader of the Unsullied in Game of Thrones. And I feel like we know he was a good actor then because he had to act with his face. He really talked. So
nice.
I don't remember what this has to do with anything, but it's really good.
That was your life update because you said you don't have a life.
Yeah, Danny was talking about her divorce, and I was like, let me talk to you about gay vampires. But it's really good, and it's really gay, and I love it so much.
I mean, honestly, it's better than like my life update. I'm like, hey, I got divorced. We all knew that was coming. It finally happened. Hey, dating in your 30s fucking sucks, dude. It's not fun. We're not going to bring that up in here because it's a mess and I'm not necessarily having a great time. But Well, I mean, not like a horrible time. It's just there's so much ghosting, and I'm like, just put on your big boy pants, and just say you're not into it. Cool. All right.
I feel
Shake
like that's
hands. Deuces. Bye.
that's like the fallout of app dating, no?
I
Like,
know,
we've
but
just
like,
created such a culture of like you don't have to have interpersonal skills. You can just be like,
it's just so weird to be talking to someone for like a couple weeks and then all of a sudden just like they drop off the face of the earth. And then because I don't know, is it because I'm an Aries? Is it because I'm emotionally damaged? I'm immediately like, are they okay? Not like, girl, they dropped you.
bitch.
Yeah. Each time I'm like, oh my God, did you die?
I was gonna say blame it on being an Aries because it's space's fault. It's outer space's fault. Or as my 4-year-old calls it,
Always.
water space. It's water space's fault. You can't be blamed. But in this case, no, you seek therapy. And I mean that with
Yeah.
love. Go to therapy.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, hi Hannah. This one's for you. Imagine if I just start singing. Okay.
Dope.
I feel really bad that my whole preamble was me talk talking about gay vampires, and meanwhile you're over here like I'm sad.
Oh, no. I'm fine about it. It's just I'm not sad. I'm annoyed.
Okay.
We're like I mean there has been nothing advanced enough to the point where I would be sad, but I'm like just do me the courtesy of just saying, "No, thank you, please." And I'm like, "Dope. Got it. Let's move on."
Fair enough.
I don't like having like put your foot in the door. Like, no, if the door's closed, fucking slam it, lock it, seal it with cement. I want a clear boundary, closed door, end of chapter. I don't like this like wishy-washy, maybe there will be a prequel or sequel or anything like that. No.
Meanwhile, I feel like I'd be the ghoster. You're very much about like direct communication about your feelings, and I'm like, that's gonna make me uncomfortable, so I will not be responding.
No, because there was the one person who I kind of almost ghosted and then he messaged me and I was like, "Hey, I miss talking to you." And I'm like, "Ah, shit. Okay. So,
Well,
sorry for kind of ghosting
this
you."
podcast because he's definitely gonna know that's about him.
Well, hey. I don't think that I
Let's.
don't think I did, but if I did, hey bud, maybe don't listen. Okay. But on that note, so Friday got divorced and then I was like, yo, I'm gonna hang out with my friends and we're gonna drink alcohol and it's gonna be great. And we did. And we were supposed to be watching Rocky Horror Picture Show, but instead my friend I know. So we only got a little bit into it, but then we had to keep on pausing it because I was at my friend Hannah's house and we kept on stopping it to tell her sister stories. And then we ended up just doing like a full story time. But somehow in middle of this, Hannah and I like brain twinned after much alcohol and like we were not
brain tripleted.
not yet. I'm getting there. We brain twinded over much alcohol and we were like, "Oh my God, your sister," and she's like, "My sister is this person." And both of us were thinking of the same person and we couldn't think of what it was. And she was like, "Oh, it's one of your guys's podcast episodes." So I'm like, "Okay." So she's scrolling through our episodes. I'm scrolling through our episode notes, trying to remember who this one person is. And then finally I give up. So in middle of all of us talking, I stop and I'm like, "That's it. I'm just gonna call Brittany." So I call Britt, put her on speakerphone, and Brittany, how are we brain tripleting?
You were like, "Hey, I'm with Hannah," and Hannah said, "Hey, shout out Hannah. That's my girl." Just kidding. We haven't met, but I bet you'd be my girl.
She's like, she is convinced that like she's your best friend, like vicariously.
Okay, then leave that in. I was gonna say the girl thinks that we were now on roll with it. Anyway,
Yeah.
and she was like, "So we're trying to remember this episode," and I was like, "Bitch!" And then Danny was like, "Do you remember the one about the Wild West?" And as she was saying Wild West, I was saying Wild West, and at least in my brain, that's how it happened. Maybe that's not how it happened in real life, but
If you did, I was talking very loudly. I didn't hear you.
yeah. Well, because I have also take your birth control. Just kidding. Are you good?
Oh, yeah, it was an alarm from I don't know how that got set. Anyway.
Anyway, and because I had also
And bitch, I got an IUD. You know that.
Mm. Oh shit! I was about to correct you and be like, "Do you mean an IED?" That's the other one.
Thank you, terrorists.
Very focused on terrorism today. That's not funny. I shouldn't say that.
We should.
Oh my god, Siri just went on my phone as I said that. The government's gonna get
The government's watching.
my gay ass is gonna be so screwed. And ooh, cut that out. That's not how I meant that. Cut that out. Anyway, where was I?
Okay.
Oh, because I had also been thinking about that episode randomly, and that led me to research this week's episode. I was just in a place of wanting to talk about queer cowboys and cowgirls, and I had like just researched a whole episode, and then they called me asking about queer cowboys and cowgirls and cowdays. Cowdays?
Cow hands? Isn't that technically what they're called?
Yeah.
But then I just think of cows with hands, and I'm like,
No, I don't like that. Oh, ew. Anyway, hi Hannah. This one's for you. Imagine if I just start singing. Okay.
dope.
Let's talk about the mythology of the American cowboy. But I want to talk about like the mythology of the American cowboy, the actuality of the American cowboy, and then get into a few specific fun stories.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that is what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about queer cowboys because I think that's very, very, very fun. And also one of my...
It feels like a very Chapel Roan episode where like you just need to post a picture of her from Pink Pony Club as like this is our episode.
That's fair. Also, Brokeback Mountain, one of my favorite movies. That's what I watched. I haven't watched it in a super long time because I haven't needed to cry in a super long time because I'm just crying anyway. But normally in the past, when I used to not
haven't needed fuel.
In the past when I used to not be able to cry in the moment because I swallowed those emotions deep down. When I needed to trigger that cry, where I would cry for straight 8 hours and I'd be like, and I'm good for the next 18 months. I would watch either Brokeback Mountain, Titanic, or in more recent years, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
But I need therapy.
Oh, honey.
I know it's not.
Nobody ever said that.
It's an and.
It's not an or situation, baby girl. Anyway.
Porque no los dos.
Buckle up, y'all. Wait, nope, there's no buckles involved. Oh, there are. Bell buckle up, y'all. Ugh. I'm not proud of where I am today.
I was very proud of that.
Mythology of the American cowboy. Okay.
I need to remember to put that in like the beginning instead of like the welcome back cousins is gonna be belt buckle it up cousins.
Oh no. Okay. So, Wild West era.
Yes.
When we think Wild West, we typically think
yay.
Shooting guns, riding horses,
Billy the Kid.
Yeah, sure. Favorite gal at every brothel they rode past. Leaving
Indeed.
dust. These are the common depictions of the American cowboy. We've been spoon-fed it by Hollywood. That's what we're used to, but it's quite far from the truth. So, in my research, I read this really great research paper from Brandeis University by, I'm going to butcher this, but Hannah Klempner Miller.
I love that, like, our podcast, you're not even just reading, like, random articles or whatever. Like, you're literally reading people's papers, like, their thesis.
I do read some random articles, but I do read a lot of peer-reviewed sources because I care about the research, Danielle. I care about it. And anyway, I was excited.
Sad.
No, I'm not really a BuzzFeed girly, but Hannah and I, as I was reading this, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I already read about that. And then I realized, looking back through my sources, that Hannah and I had used a lot of the same sources. So that's very cool. But anyway, I just want to show that research paper because it was very well written. But I also,
for a second, was like, why are you saying Hannah's name weird? And then I realized, oh, you were talking about the other person.
Yeah. So it broke down the mythology of the cowboy in American history. And it talks about like how in old cowboy movies we see the idea of a cowboy that was like also shared by Teddy Roosevelt. So it's like that era of America. He referred to them as, quote, the hardy and self-reliant type, and said that they possessed, quote, the manly qualities that are invaluable to a nation. So there's also a lot of like, there's a lot between the lines there too about like what is a man, and that's what we see in the Hollywood depiction. These kind of playboys of the Wild West, which they may have been, but not necessarily in the way that they're depicted.
Tootie spitting the
don't ever say Haktua. We're not gonna figure it out.
Oh no! I was trying to do the Tui where like they go into the spittoon. I forgot that was a thing. She ruined.
Yeah, she sure did
that for me.
She ruined spitting, which is something that Danny apparently really loves. So
that's all more than that on this day.
All right.
Well, okay. Character development.
So anyway, in that quote about like the manly qualities, you can read between the lines. Like I said, queer didn't really fall in line with what was a widely accepted idea of manliness. Um,
No way.
it's just the kind of icky alpha male stereotype in general that like not to like always make it about me, but I'm gonna. Uh, that and I have a microphone, so get bugged. But like the cycle that I'm like trying to break in my own family, like my boys can see that their dad does like strongman competitions, that kind of thing that he's into, and they can get excited about it, but they also paint their nails in preparation for an event because they're excited. So like
Because they want to, not because
yeah,
they're like, oh, do you guys want to do this? They're like,
yeah,
hey, mom, can we?
yeah, like please, mom, can I wear sharks and dinosaurs on every shirt, but also I want to wear butterfly clips in my hair, and I love that. We love a guy who can do both. But
Oh my God, your little one's hair is so thick and he looks so good with some butterfly clips.
I know he wants to grow his hair out, the youngest. It's gonna be wild. Anyway, so it's just goofy to me that people can see it as like a one or the other situation because I think like those lines have always been so blurred, and it's just weird that we're pretending they haven't been. Nobody's
100%.
saying whatever. Maybe they are, and they're just like super fucking boring, in my opinion. I don't know, but
We like a multifaceted queen
we do. We sure
or
do.
king.
It's like the actuality of the cowboy. So despite these Hollywood depictions, pretty much any of the research that actually digs into interpersonal relationships in the Old West comes out, pun intended, to show that homosexuality was commonplace. And when I say research, I'm not talking about like the kind of research I use sometimes where I'm like, lol, sounds gay. Like we're talking like actual personal journals, archival photographs, same-sex couples, newspaper articles that literally outed people,
No.
and medical research from the time. We'll talk about some of those examples. And some people consented, some people were interviewed for them. I will give that disclaimer, but
Okay.
not always. So even more important than that, in my opinion, is the research of frontier life. It shows that love between same-sex partners not only existed, but was acceptable within that society. It wasn't really out of the ordinary within limitations that we're going to touch on.
Is it kind of similar to like, okay, whatever. My ignorance is probably going to show. So if like this is just a stereotype and not actually something real, call me on it. But like how it's often portrayed that like kind of in the Navy, it's like, yeah, sometimes like gay shit happens, but like that's when we're out at sea. When we're back, it's like pretend it didn't happen kind of thing.
I think that is a
Or
stereotype
it's like,
that exists within like different military
okay,
branches, is my understanding. But I'm sure that
my bad.
I'm sure that idea um has some bearing. I'm not saying just on the Navy. I mean, in general, when people of the same, sex assigned at birth are grouped together for long periods of time, whether or not you're typically attracted to that gender, I don't think really matters if people are just looking for companionship.
Like what happens a lot of time in prison.
Right. Or like I was gonna touch on it later on, but it kind of reminded me of like boarding schools. Like you hear stories.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to an episode of Morbid where they covered the two girls in New Zealand in like the 50s that like murdered one of their mothers.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but they like went to an all-girls school together, and somebody that went to the school was there was all this like hyperfixation on the girl's sexuality, and like, do they have an intense relationship? Are they like sexually involved? Whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. They murdered somebody, like they're murdered.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit more important than what they like to do in their spare time.
For sure. But somebody else from the school, another girl, a woman, but had talked about her time there as a girl and said that it was just normal to have like a quote unquote special friend, but you knew the limitations of that in the public eye. So like, it's kind of giving you that idea, that like you're in close quarters with these people, you're young, you've got needs, you're looking for just companionship. It kind of reminds me of just like historically close friendships in the Victorian era. So through like the archival diaries and letters, you can see that like some people make that argument of like, oh, they're just friendships, but there's a lot of stories we're going to talk about today with some pretty hard and fast like evidence that they weren't just friendships.
Okay.
But I mean, like kind of like on your note, like when they're out there alone like that. So like think about their circumstances. The Wild West was called wild for a reason, like untamed, uncultivated. It could be so isolating being out there for so long in these wide open spaces. And it like, I think it also
it's not all just about sex.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's also kind of me, like, just this is conjecture here, but as if this fucking whole podcast isn't, but it also, like, I feel like it also means that there's a level of removal from society's views. Because when you're out there like that, I can imagine, like, you're so far from the cities and the expectations. I can imagine it leads to a kind of like sexual freedom that might have been
Well, that's also why, like,
come by.
like, there was so much, lawlessness and, just, like, a lot of just strays from traditional, like, cultural norms because there wasn't anyone enforcing it, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, there wasn't enough people to make it feasible. Like, a lot of the, like, societal, like, high society norms couldn't be replicated out in the Wild West as these small towns were being built because there just weren't enough people.
Yeah, and I should like I'm gonna give the disclaimer again that I've given a number of times, but in this era, people wouldn't have used the term homosexual. It wasn't in circulation at that time, so I'm just gonna throw that out there again. So when I use it, I'm
Mhm.
saying that like they wouldn't have referred to themselves as that way. Um, but historian Peter Boeg, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he wrote in this book, Same Sex Affairs, quote, in all men's societies, it was not unusual for same-sex relationships, and it was just an acceptable thing to do. People engaged in same-sex activities weren't seen as homosexuals. It was just kind of like you have your partner for the time, and when that time passes,
Mhm.
you know? So in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, it kind of seemed like a means to an end, you know? Like I said, those boarding school vibes. Um,
Seems much more like what a lot of people are kind of wanting these days. Like, there's not a label. It's just,
yeah,
this is what I'm doing at this time, and then I'm not doing it anymore. And it's
yeah.
just, it's what it is.
And it can progress from there, of course. So some of these physical
Yeah.
relationships moved into what was called like bachelor marriages. Basically, two men who crave companionship, they found it within each other, and it was just common and accepted that they would share a bed, sleep, sleep. They're kind of. It's not like they had giant houses,
Hmm.
They didn't really.
Abe Lincoln and his
For sure.
roommate vibes.
Yep, absolutely. Roommate, and they were roommate.
Mm.
Um, And as queer historian Chris Packard wrote in his book, Queer Cowboys, homoerotic friendships preserve privilege and ensure survival in a hostile wilderness. Like you have someone to take care of you, and someone
Okay.
for you to take care of. So, it's a scary place to be alone. Sometimes just having the other person there was probably the only thing that kept people alive.
Hmm.
And just as important as the physical wellness, obviously, would be mental and emotional well being. So people just had fun together. Um, a fun example of that is the miners in Angel Camp in Northern California would hold these dances, and half the men would wear bandanas around their arms to signal that they wanted to take on the feminine role when they were dancing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So so of course, if we're speaking of the like normalization of queer relationships and identities in the Old West, I'd be pretty remiss not to mention the fact that many indigenous communities also have a lot of people who are comfortable outside of the binary as two spirits. So people who did not have to conform to male or female were just accepted and in many communities revered,
Hmm.
respected. I want to make it very clear that this is not just going to be a blurb here. Huge simplification of their identities. I understand that, but I want to cover two spirits in their own episode because it's such varying gender identities through, and to just like lump all indigenous communities together is difficult in itself. So I have not tackled that story.
Oh, yeah, that would be
Going
gross. You'd have to, like, have that be two-spirit focus on, like, one specific area or one specific person, not...
So I feel like started to gather some research and I'm like, oof, this feels like such an oversimplification. So I think I am going to have to narrow it.
I mean, that would be like trying to cover the trans identity with
Yeah.
one person. Like, that's not, you
Or like
can't
one
do that.
experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to make that clear that I know it wasn't just fucking white people out there. I know. And thank God, because we all know how badly we suck. But
Black and white people.
yeah. On the note about gender nonconformity, there's also evidence of women that posed as men. And in some cases that we'll talk about today, it's because they were men. They were trans men. They didn't have that language at the time. But there were also people who identified as women dressing as men, but they did it to avoid being sexually assaulted. It was kind of
Hmm.
a safety. Like there were brothels out there, but that didn't mean that a woman could like always live on her own safely. Not to mention like quote unquote women's work. It was pretty limited. Cooking, housekeeping,
Hmm.
posing as a man in the Wild West opened up far more opportunities for a person born as a woman.
Well, and if you're thinking about just like the travel aspect alone, that reminds me of like when I used to teach Romeo and Juliet, people would be like, well, why wouldn't Juliet just go to Mantua? And it's like, well, like Verona and Mantua, yes, like she could have traveled, but like as a girl, that wasn't a safe way to travel, right? Like
Right.
it just being inherently feminine would mean like you're going to get raped or you're going to get killed or any of those things, right?
Oh, obviously, many layers of fucked. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that
Where then, like,
scary reality.
where then it makes sense that, yes, in the Wild West, again, where there's not room to enforce those social norms, it's going to be the Wild West. But then also, like, I mean, I've heard of plenty of women who like would hide their identity, one, just like to get from coast to coast and then resume life as a female, but also like ones who, no, I found lucrative work pretending to be a male,
Yeah, an
or why not?
example of this would be Sammy Williams. So this was an 80-year-old lumberjack who died in Montana in 1908 after a long career. The undertaker assigned that or discovered that Sammy's sex assigned at birth was female. And it just like blew the minds of the community. They were like, I've only ever known this dude as a dude. And, you know, he
Mm-hmm.
had this like rough and tumble, really physical job. I don't know much more beyond that of Sammy's like gender identity, but it made it clear that like this is a person that could have a lucrative business,
Yeah.
identifying as a man, whether that was like his true identity or whether he was, you know, kind of, I guess, trying to play to that advantage for safety and for a career.
Did you cover the stagecoach woman, or did I hear about that somewhere else?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, there was a woman who posed as a male working the stagecoach, and um like she was like one of the fucking best runners, I want to say for like Wells Fargo, and found out like either like she got injured on the job towards the end of her career, or like when she passed away, found out that, oh, she's actually female. And then I want to say, because I'm not remembering any of this, I was really counting on you being the one who told me it so
Oh
that we
my
could
God.
like
Yeah.
I want to say that then they kind of just like let it go, like let her just be buried as the male.
They did not let shit go in the stories I'm going to share today. Sorry, friends. I'm glad you brought that up.
I mean, I could totally be remembering it wrong. So if you ever want to try to find one of my nugget trails, look that up, Britt.
I will. I don't like how you phrase that, but I will do my best. Now I'm going to get into my little
Gold Nugget, Wild West, Gold Rush. Come on, Britt.
Okay, I gotcha. So you know, I like a little mini story, so I'm going to do a few mini stories today.
Love it.
So the first one I want to talk about is William Drummond Stewart. So we're going to focus on the man that
I recognize that name.
Yeah, you will. The queer historian Michael Lyons referred to as the, quote, Scottish-born adventurer and noted homosexual. Danny's is going to be a Midwest-born, stay-at-homer, and noted bisexual. So it's a
Please and
thank you.
Stay at homer.
William Drummond.
Hey, I'm getting out now.
William Drummond Stewart, a military nobleman, basically notorious for his gay adventures in the American Wild West. So that's what we're going to talk about. So his life in America is chronicled in William Benneman's book, fantastic title, Men in Eden, William Drummond Stewart, and Same-Sex Desire in the Rocky Mountain Fur Trade. Hell yeah. I want that to be turned into like a Southern Gothic song. I love a Southern Gothic.
I feel like I can picture that on a crew neck.
Sing it. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah, just like the overly 90s style graphic art with the like Rocky Mountains. Like that's
Like your wolf shirt, but without the wolf.
Yes. Oh,
Go to our Instagram. Actually, I didn't. It was our story. It's gone already. Anyway, Danny was a wolf kid. I was a dinosaur. Or I was a dolphin kid. If you know, you know. If you don't, you had a better childhood.
yeah.
So
no, much less embarrassing childhood.
So Benjamin argues in that book that men like Stewart, who were like aware of their homosexuality, found in the American West, quote, land of special dispensation, and many who journeyed there discovered a paradise, an Eden filled only with Adams. Oh,
That was fantastic for
no.
Yeah.
After coming to America in 1832, Stewart joined a what's called like a rendezvous of hunters and trappers in Wyoming and met a French-Canadian Cree hunter named Antoine Clement, who became his lover for nearly a decade, like his partner. And Antoine was an experienced frontiersman, so he kind of like showed William the way, like took him under his wing, and they just fell in love. Well, I'm gonna assume they're in love because they stayed together for a decade. But so eventually they'd go back to Scotland when William's brother died. And given the time period, Antoine had to pose as his valet and footman, so, like, his servant.
Mm.
And so what I found in my research, it was like, for the most part, it's reported that Antoine did not enjoy his time in Scotland. Like,
No fucking shit.
no, it's like, I'm gonna walk 5 feet behind my boyfriend. This is bullshit. What are you talking about?
I have to be a lower class citizen. This is so fun.
So they eventually take off, travel the world together, and in 1843, return to America. William planned a large frontiersman rendezvous, and traveled with a large entourage to Fremont Lake for the event. So it was gonna be like this big blowout, basically.
Okay.
Run along. I've got a quote here, and tell me who it reminds you of. Stuart.
Are we like doing a Coachella of frontiersmen?
Listen, I'll quote, a large array of velvet, silk, Renaissance costumes for his all-male guests to wear during the festivities. A historian called the event a rollicking medieval market fair where naked men crawled out from beneath the striped canvas of the tents to go loudly skinny dipping in the lake. It's giving...
This
like,
gives Elton John.
No, it's giving...
Yes. Yup. OG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, like when they were all crushed with roses.
Under the other...
Such a good episode.
Literally an orgy when they get crushed by the weight of a bunch of flowers.
Insanity.
Unfortunately, this led to a bit of a scandal during his little pleasure fest.
No way.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah, so he's throwing this like
velvet.
like just a gay rager. And it's cut short in that biographer Benjamin from the book. Just kind of like it's his assumptions. We don't know for sure, but it seems like some members of the group were maybe a little bit more straight-laced and not as accepting of behavior as like his previous companions, like his previous rendezvous had been. So he came back and he's like, I'm gonna party with my gay homies, and then the straights showed up and ruined it, as they fucking do.
They're more like, no, we are like gay by happenstance or gay by situation, not like,
yeah, like we're not gonna be
gay. And he's like,
yeah,
then why are you here?
Honestly, they sound like narcs. Life's a party. When you have a drink, chill the fuck out. Just
exactly.
Like, go gay. It's fun. All right.
Ain't no clause. Damn it. Ain't no laws with the clause. So just chill. Have a drink and chill. So don't correct it, Brittany.
Drinking.
It'll make you sound worse.
No, sitting here shooting my amaretto sour with green olives that I ordered at a college bar and got shamed for while you talk about White Claws, it's feeling like I'm about 10 years younger.
I am drinking wine out of a giant tumbler that says mama on it multiple times. And I feel like if that ain't the fucking vibe today, though, sometimes you need your mama juice.
Ew.
That makes me sound like an alcoholic, too. Sorry, I'm not one of those, like, wine moms.
Yeah. All right. So next time I'll talk about Harry Allen. Like I said, they're going to be little short stories.
Wait, but you didn't tell me why I know Drummond. Why do I know that name?
Because he was super famous for being gay and, like, fucking frontiersmen.
I know someone with the last name Drummond. That's why.
You're a fucking moron. Well, is he related to my friend? Do you think he knows my friend, my cousin? No.
That's not what I was going for, but I am just a moron. So that's fine. Okay.
You're
cool.
Beautiful. So Harry Allen is the next cowboy I want to talk about. He sounds like a fucking Sedona, described as being a dashing man and a sharp dresser who kept his hair trim. Like, go off, King. I like them looking like they're about to ruin my life. Not my type. I like them trashy, but go off, babe.
You like them to look like they're gonna ruin your life.
And that's not what my partner looks like, but no, I like them to look like.
He looks like a very nice Republican.
Oh, that's like the biggest insult to him. He gets so, because sometimes, like, when I'm being funny, I'll tell him that I like, like that joke of like, I like angry liberal men who look like Republicans, and he's like, I look like a Republican, and it like really hurts his feelings. But no,
he made sure that he wore like lesbian colors when we went to a festival this summer, so that people knew that he was a Republican.
I'm like, he's like, I'm cool, guys. No, I actually, he asked me once how we ended up dating, because he was like, my type's all over the place. Like, the people I am interested in or have dated don't look like any one type. That like they would ruin my life, and I kind of let them. But he was like, how did I fit into the mix? I don't get it. And I was like, all I knew of you when I met you was like a buzz cut and tattoos, and that was enough. I was like, yep, could fuck up my whole existence. I'm in. Mm-hmm. And then 10 years later, I'm married with 2 kids, but that's boring. Let's move on. So, He was a lady killer, a bootlegger, a bronco bustler, a saloon brawler, a drinker, and an all-around rabble-rouser. That's a quote.
That was
I
amazing.
don't remember where I got that quote from, though, and I'm feeling a little bad about it.
Well, we know that it's a quote, not by Brittany.
Oh, it's from the Seattle Sunday Times, I think. Right? Maybe? Oh, fuck.
Girl, I don't know.
If any former students are listening to this, first of all, don't tell me. Second of all, it's important to cite your sources. So
to my former students who listen, hi, I love you all.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I really love you so much. But
thanks for listening.
Also, sorry.
You get to see what trash we are.
But thankfully, if any of them are listening, they're like in their mid-20s by now, so we're fine.
Oh yeah.
But
it's fine that they see behind the curtain.
So an article was published in 1908 in the Seattle Sunday Times. So this is one of those situations. And it wasn't until this time, but that people kind of knew what was happening behind the scenes. But Harry does an interview, and Harry tells the reporter about his discomfort with the sex he was assigned at birth. And he says, I did not like to be a girl, did not feel like a girl, and never did look like a girl. So it seemed impossible to make myself a girl. And sick at heart over the thought I would be an outcast of the feminine gender, I conceived of the idea of making myself a man. Like, go off, king.
Go off, Harry. That's fucking cool.
Cousins. Harry was trans. Duh. And out here, parts. Looking like the alpha male cowboy. And people had a hard time reconciling both of those ideas. They're like, he gets bitches? What? I'm like, yeah, he was hot, man. Shut the fuck up.
So understand how many, like, thirst trap trans men come up on my TikToks? Like,
it's just my whole FYP.
So many. And each time I'm like, thank you.
Like, thank you, sir. You do.
Are you part of the creator fund?
Wait.
Because I will watch this video a few more times for you just in case. Just to get paid. It's fine.
Sip your mama wine or whatever the fuck. Okay. So because of this, because men were just jealous of his game, obviously, Harry was constantly getting harassed by the cops on bullshit charges so that they could lock him up so he could stay away from their wives. Just kidding. I added the wives part. But so, for example, in 1912, he's arrested on charges of white slavery. Because he crossed state lines with a woman named Isabel Maxwell. Isabel was a sex worker, so they were trying to put these trumped up charges out there that, like, saying basically he's like trying to traffic her. And then they're like, she's posing as your wife, but you're trying to traffic her. And he's like, nah, bitch, we're a real couple. Like,
also, I would like to point out, like, anyone who tries to use, like, to talk about slavery to be like, oh, but the Irish were slaves and blah, blah, blah. One, you're stupid. That's not the same thing. Shut up. But also, like,
also
there was a whole, oh, yeah, no, I know. But there's a whole, like, they have a law against white slavery.
Yes,
they needed to have that little clarification there.
Yes, exactly.
Oh fuck!
At first I was like, "Well, what turn are we taking, Denny?" But
no, so it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Harry was dealing with intense questioning by these cops until the arrival of a federal officer named Charles Prey. Unfortunately,
Eat, pray, love.
No, this fucked his whole shit up. This was not an eat, pray, love situation.
Oh,
yeah. Within moments,
that kind of praying.
Yes, within moments, Prey recognizes Harry, and they had met months before in Spokane, and Harry had been arrested there for selling alcohol on a Native American reservation, which was a federal crime at the time. So that's where Prey came in. Issue here is that the federal agent knew Harry's legal identity.
Fucking A.
And called him out by that dead name.
Fucking bastard.
Yeah. Just like exposed him at a time that, like, anytime, don't use people's dead names, you douchebag.
No.
But
so fucking shitty.
At that time, so fucking dangerous. Dangerous now, dangerous then, for sure. But Harry breaks down, obviously. He's crying. He's saying, I'm not a white slaver. I'm not Harry Allen. And then he says, I'm Nell Pickrell, and I've been posing as a man for more than 12 years. Because he was like, no, I have to admit it. I have to say who I am because this guy knows. And it just sucks.
That's so sad.
Because of this, the Portland police sentenced him to 90 days in jail for vagrancy, which is like, it's a term for men who were out of work, specifically black men who were out of work. And it was used historically as like a catch-all to like put them away. And don't even get me started on the prison industrial complex. Bitch.
Like the hobo laws, essentially.
Yeah, disgusting. And they were also using it in this sense for a catch-all for someone who they didn't feel was following society's accepted norms. So people of
they're in the fucking Wild West. Nobody's doing that.
Yeah, no shit, right? Oh, wild for a reason. So
Yeah.
this
Oh my God,
after
fuck
that
off.
initial newspaper report, the papers continued to run scandal stories around Harry involving love traps. And they were talking about like these two Seattle women who fell in love with Harry and were competing for his love, which is probably true. Like everybody fucking wanted Harry. But
Mm-hmm.
according to this tale published in the newspapers, the women supposedly completed suicide once they discovered Harry was not who they thought him to be. Like, oh, they were just
That's not on him to scandalize that. That's not fair.
yeah, this woman tricked these other women. It was propaganda. It was propaganda to tell
Mm-hmm.
women don't fuck other women because men want to do it instead. It was all to have power over women's bodies. To tell these girls like that's not a man, you can't have sex with that person. Puke.
And like, is it because like I have the gay, but I'm not seeing the correlation of someone went after someone that they thought was a dude, found out not
Because they're saying
physically
they're saying
having those attributes.
they
And then they kill themselves, and that's
okay.
supposed to be a way for them
Hold
to
on, so I can explain.
I was finishing my thought process, bitch.
The concept that they were pushing was that Harry wasn't Harry, that Harry was this woman who was a lesbian who was entrancing these women, and any women who want to run off and have sex with other women are going to end up dead and in purgatory because they're going to kill themselves. It's stupid, and it's anti-queer and trans propaganda.
Stupid.
It's very
Really stupid.
extremely stupid. Do you want to hear about Mrs. Noonan? I have like no good transition between these stories.
I
It's like,
sure do.
another one.
I liked the transition because when you said it, I was like, oh, am I supposed to know who this is? Yes, please.
So another notorious story about gender nonconformity in the Wild West is that of the beloved Mrs. Noonan. She was the laundress of Elizabeth and George Armstrong Custer.
Well, I love her already.
Yes, if you were forced to sit through American history classes in elementary school, George Armstrong Custer was the famous U.S. Army officer, an infantryman. So
Custer's Last Stand. That's a thing, right?
probably.
Okay.
I may have been sleeping or making those little paper things where you go, and then you flip
Like
up and it's
the little the football ones that aren't football, but the like magic wish ones.
cootie catchers. Cootie catchers. Cootie catchers.
What are they
Not
called?
coochie catchers. They're called cootie. They're not called coochie catcher.
They could be coochie catchers now.
That was before I knew I had crushes on the girls I was doing that with, Danny. Anyway, let's not get into when I was in the So, Mrs. Noonan, this is going to be wholesome right here, so shut the fuck up. She served the community in many ways as a midwife, a seamstress, and reportedly she was the best pie baker of all the wives of Custer's 7th Cavalry.
Yes, you were. Stop that.
She was a fucking sweetie. She was known, like, she was a midwife, right? So she's comforting women when they're in labor. I got the juice when I was in labor. They didn't have that at the time. So she would ask them, are you comf? Like C-O-M-F. Are you comf?
No,
Cute.
she would actually say that?
Yes, that's a quote.
Shut up.
Cute. So
Love
she said to be like super well liked by everyone, especially by Elizabeth Custer. And she had already been married twice, like to 2 different men before she ended up here and married to Corporal John Noonan, which is where Mrs. Noonan comes from. Unfortunately, that's like all we have. All I have of her name. I guess I could probably get it dug deeper, but George Armstrong Custer's favorite hunting partner. So like the families got in with each other really quickly. She attended local balls with him. Everybody loved her. Sadly, at Fort Lincoln, Mrs. Noonan gets super, super sick. Her husband's gone scouting, so he's off on like a trip basically with his cavalry. And she was just unable to recover. 2 weeks of this, it was grueling. She struggles with her illness and she passes away. But before she died, she did ask to have a priest come, read her last rites kind of thing. And she told him and a fellow laundress that she wanted to be buried in the clothes she was wearing at the time of her death. She's like, I don't want to be fussed over. I just want to be buried right away. Oh, they're the fucking worst. They're worse. They're not going to respect that wish. And the cavalry women began to prepare her for a wake and burial. In their defense, I think they meant well. I think she was such a respected member of the community that they were like, she's been sick for 2 weeks in these dirty clothes. Like, we want to clean her. We want to prepare her for burial. But, like, she didn't want that. Respected. So, to their shock, they discover...
Like, she had a fucking plan. God damn it.
That their friend Mrs. Noonan was assigned male at birth. What's even worse than not respecting her wishes in death? How about reporting on this nationally before her husband even gets home to grieve her death?
Shut up.
The Bismarck Tribune published.
So essentially, he finds out this way.
I can't say for sure if he found out from the newspaper,
but there's potential.
Yeah, but they published the story first, and then it went national. A reporter wrote, Corporal Noonan will probably swear when he hears the sad news. The deceased was in the habit of shaving every day, and in that way kept down a heavy beard. It gets into discussion of her ethnicity that I think is fucking unnecessary as well, on top of her identity, which is disgusting, so I cut over that. But
okay, one, like her husband wouldn't fucking know, and two,
well, that's the
heavy
point.
Beard.
The heavy beard. The point of contention in this story actually. Talks about how she like concealed the secret of an unnatural union, and she was clothed in a dark mystery. Like she was not dark in any way. Like people loved her. She was a light in the community. The story did compliment all this fuck shit is being said first, but then the story does compliment Mrs. Noonan, however, for keeping a clean home that was nicely decorated inside and out. So she's respected for her words.
Fucking crazy.
But then in the same breath they say, oh, she didn't actually have that many friends among the other women because they considered her something between a man and a woman. Like, no, fuck.
No, they didn't. They didn't know.
Oh, you say that now because she's dead, you dicks. Like before that, it was, oh, we love her. So whatever. When Corporal Noonan's 7th Cavalry finally returned, he learns of his wife's death and what the women had discovered. He's obviously in shock. He comes home to a dead wife and everybody fucking talking about her body. And he's grieving. And on top of that, though, his fellow soldiers ostracized him. And he's said to have deserted shortly after.
God,
and then like kind of a trigger.
Loses everything.
But yeah, well, it's exactly it. He lost everything. And then he's just being publicly shamed. Tribune reporter found him in the stables of the lower garrison on November 28th and talked to him. And he said that Noonan said he was absolutely adamant that he didn't know his wife was, quote, a man. In fact, he said they had been trying very hard to have a baby. I dare not say that the medical officers were wrong, Noonan said, but I know that I am right, and I know that my wife was a woman. There's some terrible mystery that this thing that I can't understand. I don't know if he actually said that, or if this was a completely fabricated story for the article, because I feel like a reporter was just looking to print a sensational story and get paid. Either way, get so fucked for profiting off this man's pain.
Even if that was something that he said, though, can you blame him for at this time, like, doubling down, like, just to try to save face a little bit?
Of course. After he was such a respected member of the military as well, and that's his community. It's like a military community, and he's just ostracized.
Goes from everything is totally fine and wonderful to my wife is dead, and now everybody hates me, and I'm a pariah.
Yeah, like, exactly. So he really sadly, 2 days later, he did shot him. He shot himself through the heart. Yeah, there's like, I don't try to say that, but like,
I'm not surprised, but fuck.
I don't want to end on that note. So like, very tiny, the sweet thing, I guess, at the end here does not at all make up for the rest of it, but it does seem that at least one of the women in the community showed some respect to the couple, because Elizabeth Custer didn't really have, at least it wasn't reported that she had anything judgmental to say about her. She just said, quote, poor old dear, I hope she finally is comf.
Oh, that's so, that's full circle. That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
It's hard to know sometimes with those articles, because it's coming from like an old, like, archival source, but yeah. At least if there's room for me to get away. Okay.
Yeah.
Our final tale today is that of Joseph Israel Lobdell, a man who became what?
I feel like I need to keep in that whole part just so that you can see how there was literally no segue.
There was
we're going.
There was no segue. Danny was just talking about being physically affectionate, and I said, thank you. So he became known in the West as a rugged frontiersman and a mighty hunter who traveled with his pet bear and could play a mean fiddle.
Shut the fuck up.
I will not.
Cool.
Yes. Have lived off the land in the untamed wilderness and is said to have dressed in the fashions of a Native American, is basically how it was said. So, which fucking indigenous people would have like known how to dress appropriately for
exactly. You're out in the wilderness. Why would you be wearing?
I do think some of these older sources tend to like make a big deal, like it was a white man and he dressed like a Native American. Like,
or you're an idiot,
like because he doesn't want to freeze to death, bro.
Oh no, my pantaloons aren't holding up in this swamp. I wonder why.
Yeah, but anywho, so just kind of give you that picture. It reminds me of that old mountain man statue that our dad used to have. We used it as like a trophy, our yard games tournament. I want to get it.
We're gonna have to find a picture of it.
I'll
do it with you.
You bitch! I wanted to do it years ago, and you won't do it.
I know, but shit's changed. I'll do it.
Okay, fine. All right, but anywho, Joseph, this is important to the story, so I am just gonna say this right away, but Joseph was born as Lucy Ann Lobdell in 1829 to a working class family in New York State. As a child, Joseph was an excellent marksman, and because he was still identifying as Lucy at the time, he became known as the female hunter of Delaware County. So he kind of always had this reputation.
Wilderness person.
Yes, for sure. Even before he came to the Wild West. So,
as a wilderness explorer.
Yeah. As Joseph grew up, he married a man who turned out to be abusive, sadly, and abandoned him. And he decided, like, well, fuck that. And he left New York. He was like, I'm just going to move out to the frontier. Fuck that guy. I'm moving to the wilderness. So this is when Joseph adopts his true identity. He starts a music school. So a man of many talents. At the music school that he founded, he became engaged to a young woman. And because
okay, but so fun that we're like wilderness marksmen and found a music school. Like, yeah, we love a multifaceted king and queen.
Yes, we do. Because people are absolute fucking trash, though. Another man apparently wanted Joseph's fiance for himself, found out about Joseph's birth identity, and like basically drummed up an angry mob that were like, we're gonna tar and feather him. Like, take the L and fuck off. Like, she doesn't want you, man. Like. But thankfully, like, Joseph's fiance warns him. She was like, look, this is what's going to happen. Like, you need to get the fuck out. So he flees town. He does eventually marry another woman. So Joseph marries an educated woman. That's how she's described, named Marie Louise Perry, excuse me, who had also been abandoned by her husband. So you can kind of see how they might have been able to bond given their shared experiences and traumas. But they married and they lived in the wilderness together with Lobdell's pet bear, of course. They were isolated from most of humanity, and they survived on his hunting skills. Like, he provided for them that way. This one gets shitty, but like in the future.
No,
I know. I'm sorry. I know. I'm so sorry. Fuck. I'm sorry.
Thank you, because I'm in this like happy little day. Oh, so cute. It's all apple pie and sunshine, and you're like, hey, so also there is an ice pick coming to your heart release.
It is.
Oh, thank you.
It's coming, but
thank you for the warning.
I
will cry today.
We're gonna wait like 150 years, and then we'll pull the ice pick back out, though. Okay, so just like hold on for a minute.
Okay.
People suck. Society wouldn't let Marie Louise.
Oh, it's real quick. Okay, cool.
Live as they wanted to, alone in the woods. Like, they weren't fucking, like, even if you're so bothered by somebody else existing in a different life than you.
They're alone in the fucking woods with their bear.
Fucking woods with their bear.
And they have a pet bear. Why would you fucks with that? Why would you fucks with that? They could tame a bear. And you think you could come across them? Like, come on.
So Joseph was arrested for, you guessed it, vagrancy while visiting town, which is just a trumped up charge because, yeah. So the jailers discovered in prison, I'm sure you can imagine that Joseph was assigned female at birth. And in 1879, Lobdell was taken to the Willard Insane Asylum in Ovid, New York.
Fuck off.
I'm so sorry. I know. I knew you were going to be mad about this part, understandably. While in the asylum, Lobdell became a patient of Dr. P.M. Wise, who published an article called A Case of Sexual Perversion, in which he discussed Lobdell's sexual identity and wrote that, well, I'm not going to use the feminine pronouns that asshole did, but basically that this person considered himself a man. And in all,
oh, what a mockery!
Like,
LOL.
Specifically in all that the name implies, which is basically saying he had relationships with women, because that's what these men are about.
Oh my god!
I will die on this hill. I don't think men actually give a fuck about trans men. I think they just want ownership of women's bodies. That's what they can't handle, and they don't.
Thank you for having your name today be Miss to Steal Your Girl.
Yeah,
because you could, Brittany, if you We're not married to a man's right now. You could be a Miss Cecilia girl.
She's referring to my name on our recording thing. You have to like enter your name, and I always put something stupid because I'm an idiot. But this is, and when I say they want control of a woman's body, I'm not talking about Joseph. Joseph was not a woman. I'm talking about the women that Joseph had relationships with. That's what they're fucking upset about. Because Wise also published an article using the word lesbian to describe Joseph. Nope. Joseph was a trans man. But I include this piece not just as rage bait for Danny, but because this is said to be the first published use of the word lesbian in American literature.
Oh, God damn it.
Exactly.
But this is the most...
Not even used correctly. Exactly. So I knew that it was used. I knew the year that it was used from our other episodes where we were kind of talking about that, like the vernacular, like that linguistic change in society. But I did not know that it was used to describe a trans man who's literally not a fucking lesbian. Like, but
awesome.
Whatever.
Cool. So happy that we could have this pivotal moment be used incorrectly and be incorrectly outing this person who did nothing wrong besides love his fucking wife and have a cool pet bear. I hate everyone except you because you've done nothing wrong. You don't need to apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm going to
stop about it.
I'm going to tell you one more bad thing, and then I'm going to tell you some good things, okay?
Okay.
So Joseph was incarcerated at the asylum for 33 years until he died at age 82 in 19...
That's so long.
I know, and he's buried at the Binghamton State Hospital Cemetery.
And he's not with his wife. And I highly doubt she was ever able to visit.
Sorry. This doesn't make it better. But although Joseph Lobdell died in captivity, there is an important person who's making sure his name is not forgotten and his real name is not forgotten.
I love that.
In 2011, Dr. Bambi Lobdell, does that sound familiar?
It does.
She's a distant cousin. She published A Strange Sort of Being, The Transgender Life of, and this is her title, The Transgender Life of Lucy Ann / Joseph Israel Lobdell. Another author, journalist William Klaber, released a novel about Joseph. So this one's a little bit more fictionalized, and it's called The Rebellion of Miss Lucy Ann Lobdell. I don't love the name of that one. Don't love that. I do like that his story is not being forgotten, but I don't like that.
But he didn't go by that name for the majority of his life. So,
and that's what Dr. Lobdell gets into. So Dr. Bambi Lobdell, she teaches gender studies and literature in New York State College and University.
Love that for the family.
Love that for the family. A piece of Joseph living on for sure. So she includes an analysis of Joseph's life informed by queer theory and transgender studies, as well as primary documents about him. So she's using the historical document that exists, but really talking about him through that transgender lens that, like, obviously talking about how the information published about him before was very skewed. So it really feels like she's making sure the real Joseph is being seen finally. And Dr. Lobdell regards Joe, as she refers to him as Joe, as a gender outlaw, which I fucking love for the time period. Because
love that. That's so fitting.
Trans was obviously not a label that existed at the time, but gender outlaw, I think, is so fitting for the way Joseph lived his life.
Also, for any of our gender nonconforming cousins out there, if you want to go ahead and adopt that you're a gender
what you have to call yourself, but if you want to, we love it.
That would be so fucking cool, and I would be like down with it. I mean, I'm down with whatever you put because, like, obviously I respect you, but like that's a cool fucking choice you have.
Choice.
If you didn't know.
Dr. Lobdell acknowledges that, like I said, that Joseph wouldn't have been able to identify as trans because that verbiage didn't exist, but she does affirm specifically that he was a trans man. And she sees this as an important way of giving him back his dignity that was robbed of him in his final years.
Yes, girl, thank you.
Yes, it just like gives me goosebumps. In Dr. Lobdell's research, she tracks Joseph's life, including his early days at the music school he started. And according to Dr. Lobdell, because she uses some of these archival documents as well, and there was an interview of a descendant of a woman who had attended the school. And so I have a quote from Dr. Lobdell here. She says, apparently a lot of women danced with Joe when he was a singing teacher. And this one woman, she remembered her grandmother saying, I can't believe that's really a woman. He was the nicest boy I ever dated. Oh, get it, Joe.
Yes.
At the end of the day, regardless of the honestly fucking hateful things that were published about Joseph in his time, Dr. Bambi Lobdell thinks we should honor Joseph's identity and preferred name as that was how he lived his life. And she's quoted,
Thank you. Correct.
what I'm trying to do is give Joe back his voice because, and this is another way it should resonate with people today, transgender people oftentimes are not allowed to tell their own story.
Oh,
Yeah, snaps for Dr. Lobdell. Like, that's so beautiful.
just snaps, Brittany. Snap in your microphone.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And that she's coming from not only a place of love, because that's her family, but so
scholarly respect.
Scholarly respect and research, and then also just empathy and love as a human, but also
as a human fucking
that's her
person.
family. And I just think that's so beautiful that like Joseph was robbed of a chance to have a family, and here she is showing that like there are people who love you and accept
30
you,
fucking
and I'm gonna make sure people know your name. Yeah, and I think
you said he died in his 80s.
Yeah. But so he
was imprisoned in his fucking 50s.
Yeah.
He lived his life that long, and you're gonna imprison him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I hope he
like okay.
Really happy
part of me,
Marie Louise before that.
Me too. To sustain him. Part of me, I'm like, obviously knowing what mental institutions were like at this time, especially for women or people who were perceived as women, not a good time.
No.
So that he lasted 30 years in there is a travesty, and I hate that for him more than words. But then there's that tiny part of me that's like, that's what you fucking get. Prison complex. Yeah, government have to pay for him for 30 fucking years because you wouldn't let him just fucking live his own life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much they were really providing him with, but...
And that hurt my righteous indignation.
Yeah,
so
sorry,
fair, and I appreciate you pointing it out, but also I'm sweaty.
Yeah,
I am.
I understand. I'm sorry. I wish they were like.
No, I love
fun stories, but I think
and I love that you ended with a family member who won. Oh my god, the area she was. She went by she her pronouns, right?
Yeah,
that we're aware of.
Bambi, Dr. Bambi Lobdell.
Yes. Okay, so I love that she for the family history that she studied what she did, and then also for the family history that she is giving a voice to him and correcting history's perception of him. Love that. Hate how we got there, but love that she's doing the work, because I mean in a much less righteous way, isn't that kind of what we're sort of attempting to do here? Is like,
yeah, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, because this was born out of me sending you too many snaps at like midnight about
yes, I'm not.
You're like, I'm not interested, Brittany, but also I think
I was interested, you dumb bitch. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Yeah, but I do like, that's kind of part of it, I guess. It's like, I want to go somewhere with this. Like, I research these things because I care, and I feel,
and you do good research because you care.
Thank you. But I also feel like affirmed in my own identity, and I feel very privileged in my own identity as well when I look at the people who came before us and what they did to pave the way for us. And I know it's like a fun little hobby, but like really moments like that do make me feel like, oh, that's so
the small little drop in the bucket that we're doing in the grand scheme of things. Is it a lot? No, but in the moment, like, every little drop helps, right? Where like I like the idea that maybe she was a bucket full of her own, right? But that we can be like a drop also. I think it's pretty fucking cool.
I guess I hadn't thought of that, because I really do just think of it as like
imposter syndrome,
and people are listening to me yap, and if they want to listen to me yap, that's cute, but that's fine too. At least I'm telling you a story that I found interesting. But I guess, yeah, if that is the case, I don't know. I don't want to be like, oh, again, we're like affirming people, but if somebody does feel affirmed, that's cool. Virgo, I'm uncomfortable. Yeah. Let's move on. Yeah, that's what we got, I guess. But if you
wait before you go into that, okay, so when Hannah and I were trying to find the episode, we started when we were trying to find the information, we started listening to an episode, and I just did the like, hello, beautiful people, because obviously, like, I know how it goes. But then she started quoting the entire thing, and then she was singing the intro just like we do. And I was just staring at her with like, yes, with my mouth wide open. And she's like, what? I'm like, that's exactly how we do it.
Yeah, we
we
usually
sing
edit it
our
out.
parts too.
Oh, that's cute.
And she's like, I'm part of the podcast. So yes, if we do ever do another episode where we have like a guest, we should definitely have Hannah. I think that would be a good time.
That'd be fun. Hannah, if there's a story you want me to do, let me know. Dealer's choice.
I'm not going to tell her about this.
Yeah.
So when she listens to it, I'll find out. But
if
then she responds to this,
let me know, and we can do it together. That'd be fun. But otherwise, if you want to see more of our fuckery, you can Interview with a Vampire. He's from Louis. He's from New Orleans, so like he's just got this drawl, you know.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but he talked about how he had not intended to attack this man, but it was a white man. He is not a white man, and the man was speaking down to him, like tapped his head, and he's like, "Oh, you do got a brain in there, like really fucked." And yeah, bad. It was bad. And then Louise, like, basically saying that was just the man that chose to dabble in fuckery that evening. And I was like, oh my God, I've heard of that phrase than dabble in fuckery. But anyway, if you want to see us dabbling in fuckery, not in that way, not in a racist way, in just a good time. Oh my God, hey, you gotta cut me off at some point.
In a very fun, camp, awkward, we are dumb way.
Yes. You can find all of our shit on thegaycousinclub.com. It'll have links to our episodes. You can watch them or you can listen on YouTube, like if you don't have like a podcast platform. You're listening to it now. What the fuck? Anyway, there's the Instagram, TikTok. Sometimes I update it. Sometimes I forget the password and I get locked out for 2 months. We'll just see what happens. Okay, bye. Love you.
But when she does them, they're fantastic. And also, where you can find us is to email us your ideas. So if you're not Hannah and you have ideas that you want us to look up, please email us. That would be really super cool. Okay,
Brittany. Meeting.
Okay.
I gotta go.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Okay, bye. Bye. Love you. Hate ourselves.